So I hope everybody is looking forward to it, because ladies and gentlemen, it's game on. So let me tell you about the teams. Obviously, for Team Frostbite, currently running on US, we have Artisan Ramsky, Artisan Nerved, Artisan John Nerved, ADI, and obviously Crazy Baz in there as well. And for the Way2High, we have Bite Me Ya, Core, Azimet Passy, Gay JR, great name, and D-Light EU. So if we can find out what's going on, we're going to do exactly just that. Now, you're not going to hear the game sounds until just about now, when the music has finished being captured. So let us bring up some additional details. Now, there are the squad lists, and I shall show you the squads on either side. So this is, as you can see, they're pretty much focusing their attention at the moment. You can see where it comes to kills, China has the advantage, and just waiting to see what's going on. So let's see if we can actually follow some of these troops as they're making their way around. As there we go, Artisan John gets taken down in the street, leading from the A point, and you can now see these guys moving up very quickly. There's ADI taken down as well, and let's see if we can move on. So we're looking at D-Light EU at the moment in, and he looks like he's rocking maybe the scar there. It's got a little bit of pressure on him at the moment, and we're just going to wait to see what he's going to do. He's deciding to pull back towards the C point, as there's a couple of guys underneath who are looking to try and capture that C point. So you can see a couple of the US forces down by the point. They're now starting to capture the C point, as you now can see the Chinese forces starting to move in towards there. So you've obviously got the US forces trying to capture that C point, which they have now successfully done. And let's see if we can find out what's going on, as the B point has now been captured. And you can see now 248 to 289 tickets wise, it's all to play for, and China has the advantage. As you can see, the C point being taken back by China very quickly already. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow, no, we're not going to follow Daya, we're going to follow Gay Jr. as he's now running into a little bit the TF teams as ADI. He's taking him down quite a bit of health, and we're now watching this guy pop down a med pack to try and ensure that he actually stays alive. He's trying to hold this point. Looks like he's got teammates all around him. He's going to move in towards the point, make sure that that point is defended. Check those little sneaky areas where he knows members of TF are going to be waiting, and move up top, obviously, to try and guard those escalators when he pushes in from the TF team. So, as you can see, let's move in onto the likes of Artisan Ramsey. So we're watching Ramsky at the moment. Now you can see he as at the A site. Now you can notice that they're not using the skill cannon over here on the right hand side. You're not seeing the use of the grenade launcher and that kind of stuff, and you can see him pushing up very slowly. Now you can see he's in there with obviously the AK-12 Cobra laser sight, standard barrel, and the ergo grip, which is pretty much a standard loadout for these guys. So you can now see them starting to push. They've taken A, they're pushing through to B, and they're starting to make a push to C. You can see here on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, you can see the Chinese team trying to defend. You've got two guys defending the center point, you've got guys defending the roads on either side, and now let's see if we can follow Ramsky as he makes his way into the point. Now, you can see him making his way up towards the Chinese point. He's got to be very careful. He's only got 3 members of his team to support him. Glass is breaking all around his head, and we're waiting to see how things go. So, let's see what happens. You can see the B point being captured. The B point is flashing, and now the B point has been captured for the Chinese team. So the burn is back onto the US team. The US team currently with 200 tickets against 267. Nice shot there from Ramsky. Takes out his enemy, picks out the M9, and is now ready to have a little bit of a pistol duel. Oh, lovely pistol shot there coming in from Ramsky. Let's move on to someone else. So we're watching Nerved at the moment, currently breaking the glass like the yobbo he is. And you can see spraying a little bit of damage. That looks like it could also be the AK-12. Let's do a quick check. Yes, indeed, it is, with the standard loadout. So it looks like Nerve now having to back up. He's taken a little bit of damage, and he's now trying to push. Oh, there we go. He takes a lot of damage and gets finished off very quickly. So now we're looking at the A point. Let's move down towards the street and find out what's going on at the B point. So you can see the wreckage area. There's nobody up on the roof. Maybe they went for a no roofs option, or an agreement, a gentleman's agreement between teams not to do that. But you can see now the Chinese team desperately trying to defend this point. You can see them trying to defend, but also the US team moving in as best they can. You can see them popping down the med packs, making their way up the escalators, and then moving in towards the C point, but then coming under fire almost immediately by one of the Chinese defenders, who that is Gay Jr. And you can see he's had to take cover almost immediately, as there we go, more members of Frostbite pop in. And now They're making their way down to the area where they can possibly capture the flag, take a little bit of cover behind some of these boxes. Unfortunately, John didn't take enough cover as he got blatted with a bullet, and there goes a revive. So a nice revive timed in there, and I noticed that they haven't actually lowered these barricades as of yet, but you can see here the TF guys moving up on the left hand side. Let's look at the overview map. So here you can see all the members of the squads as far as TF are concerned. You can see guys coming up on the left hand street down towards the wreckage. You've got guys moving through the center. You've got one guy covering the escalator, one guy covering the central part of the mall, and two guys covering the mall on the right hand side. So if feedback obviously is welcome relating to this shoutcast, guys, if you have any suggestions, if you want to make any points, any of that kind of stuff, it's all very welcome indeed. As what I will do is I will pop out the chat so I can see you buggers and see what you're saying. So, I want to shout out to Monsieur Donut, who currently is in chat. Hello, Mr. Donut. So, let's just see what's going on. As you can see now, Artisan John and Frostbite are capturing that point now, but they've got to watch out for the likes of this guy. Here we go. So, we're now watching D-Light, but he, unfortunately, he went in for an ambush, took out John, and unfortunately was not able to get much farther. So let's see if we can find out what's going on. As now you can see here the members of the US forces moving up. Let's see if we can follow Artisan ADI. So you can see he's looking for the opportunity to try and take somebody out. Pops out the M26 mass, but doesn't get a chance to use it as Ramsky over the other side gets finished off. And now we're moving in and we're watching John trading fire with Bite Me. Yeah, they've traded. And now let's see if we can find out what's going on. As you can see the Chinese team now starting to cycle back. You can see these guys defending the central point here, moving out on the left-hand side over by the street and down towards where Artisan Nerved is. So you can see Nerved there, and let's see where that is. Azimet Pazzi currently having a little bit of a tussle. So you can see pretty much all of these guys playing assault as you would expect them to be. And now you can see it looks like the American forces are moving in towards to try and capture that point. Now, obviously, they have the advantage at the moment. Look at those tickets. There's almost 100 tickets between them, and this is because they've got the 2 burns. So the TF guys currently doing quite well. They've got the double burn on there. Well, not sorry, correction. Sorry, the Chinese team, that would be the Way2High guys, are doing pretty good. They're 100 tickets away, and it's that double cap, that double holding of those 2 flags, A and B, that's really enabled them to actually get this massive bleed onto the US side and get them down. Now, what they need to do is they need to try and recapture this point. So you can now see as the Frostbite guys, unfortunately, being taken down as they are moving over to there. So let's see if we can find out what's going on. As you can see, the B point here. This is the B point now. Multiple members of the Chinese forces hiding in ambush positions. And you can see them moving close, moving up towards the C point. They want to take that C point. If they can get a total burn or total bleed onto the enemy team, that will be advantageous for them. Bear in mind, this is only the first round of 3. So it will be best of 3, and it looks like a good situation for the Chinese team, but they've decided to try and maybe fake them out. We'll have to wait and see, but they are, looks like they are on the burn. So you can see that flag now in the process of burning back.
We have control of objective Charlie.
So there we go. That was almost a total burn by the Chinese team, but it looks like what they decided to do in the form of US is they actually decided to cycle back, get the A point and then get the B point as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out for them. So there's Ramsky trying to hold that B point and the A point. Now the bleed is on to the Chinese team. The question is whether or not Frostbite can actually hold on to that point. And you can see Nerved being taken down as well. You've got this gentleman here as well, Ramsky, who's trying to defend that point, takes down one of the members of Way2High. And now you can see a little bit of trading fire. 1 versus 2. Oh, this could turn out very nasty as a nice quick squad bomb there. As a nice little trade done, and Corey Yu played it safe. He didn't try and get in there and actually get taken out. He's actually staying in place so that he can get this cap and hold the bleed onto the US team. So 69 to 175. It's looking pretty good as far as the Chinese team are concerned. You can see the grenades come flying out, and you've got any minute now. You can have a world of hurt for this poor gentleman. There we go. So poor old Corey Yu didn't stand a chance as Ramsky moves up. They're now capturing that point back again. So now the bleed again is back in favour of the US team as they're moving in towards the C point. Currently being held by the Chinese team. Let's see if we can find out what's going on. As you can see the fire coming in. And you can see here the Chinese team being pushed pretty hard by the Americans to see if they can capture this point back. So let's have a look at the tabletop view to find out what's going on. You can see there's the Chinese defending them all. Let's move in and have a look at Azzy, see what he's up to. Now I notice not picking up the that nasty little USAS 12, but you can see them actually getting quite aggressive, pushing out from this point. Even though the bleed is against them, you can now see, there we go, a little bit of fire going on, a little bit of trading fire and a little bit of hip fire coming in. But unfortunately, Assy was not able to survive that. And now you can see the Way2High guys making their way out of point A after having captured it. So you can see Ramsky currently leading with 27-4 and Corey Yu leading with 18-9. Good stuff indeed. As you can see, Corey Yu currently taking cover from the bullets being fired in his general direction. And let's see if we can find out what's going on. So you can see here the Americans holding on to that single point. Let's see if we can find out what's going on. As now you can see lots of fire being traded. It looks like, unfortunately, most of the American team just got finished off. And now this is an opportunity for the Chinese team to move in and capture that final point. That final C point is what they require. However, because of the short spawn times on domination, the American team are back up pretty quickly and are moving in from all directions onto that point. So here we go. Let's see. You can see there we go. There's Ramsky. You've also got two guys here sneaking around, and you've got obviously these guys pushing the B point. But unfortunately, it looks like John and his teammates, they could be in trouble. We'll have to wait and see. They've got a three-man squad running, and it's looking okay as far as we can see so far. So obviously you can see it down in the bottom left-hand corner, and we're going to move over to Crazy Baz. So he's moving down towards the B point, trading fire with some of the Americans. There we go. A little bit of hip fire and a combination of ADS as well, just to make certain of that kill. And now he's in a position where he's trying to defend that point. 16 tickets left for the US team, 132 for China. So now the burn is on China once again. But the trouble is they've got to be very careful. They do not want those points taken, and that's exactly what's happening. As now looking at Ramsky. Ramsky then finished off very quickly indeed, as that was very unfortunate. And now it means that that point and the bleed is going to be going back onto the US team as China now moves in to try and capture that final point. And you can hear the music being played now. The A point is now in the process of being captured. Let's see if we can find out what's going on. No, we can't. There we go. 125 tickets in favor of China with 12 minutes and 34 seconds ticking over on the clock. So Way2High with the first round win. As you can see, Corey Yu there looking pretty good at 22 and 10, score 4,771, and obviously for the team Frostbite, you can see them in as Artisan Ramsky there, 30 and 8, very respectable score. So definitely a good first round, and we shall be moving on to the next one in the next 30 seconds. So just wanted to get some feedback from you guys in chat. Are you happy with the casting? Would you prefer to see? Are you happy with the combination mix of the first person and all the rest of it? So like combinations, mixtures of the first person, the third person, the free cam. Would you like to see more of one? Would you like to see more of another? Etc. like that. So let me know what you like seeing, and I will be able to show you more. Thank you, Donut. So yeah, first person is best, but also I need to show you tabletop to a certain degree, because I need to show you where the teams are actually coming from. So let's see what's going on. Now let's zoom in. As you can see the American team. Let's just make sure. There we go. So the teams have been swapped over, and now you can see the American team is in position of being Way2High, and Frostbite are in as China. So you can see now China able to get to that point very quickly. They may have had a slight advantage when it comes to spawns. We'll have to wait and see, as now we're looking at the main point. There goes D-Light taken down very quickly. We move over to Artisan ADI. You can see he's now moving down from the C point on the road. Pardon me. Popping over towards the lift, and you can see he's probing the defenses with his large weapon. And you can now see he's moving towards C. Looks like he might be trying to do a little bit of an outflanking maneuver. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see if we can move back to Artisan, who's now waiting in an ambush position. There we go, nice kill. And then getting equally ambushed in the face. Very nasty that was. So we'll move up and we'll show you the squad information so you can get an idea of what's going on. So we're watching Artisan Ramsky as he's now trading fire with a member of the American side, but unfortunately he's been taken down. So you can see, let's just see. So we've got Gay Jr. and obviously D-Light EU. So we're watching some Artisan ADI as he's now moving up as, oh, look at that. Core EU drills him in the face. Very nasty indeed. So let's see if we can follow Core EU, find out what he's up to. So you can see now at this current moment, a little bit of trading fire, and now it looks like Core EU then gets taken down by Artisan. So you can see now the C point and the B point also now trading owners. As you can see, oh, there we go. That looked like he popped in with a little bit of scar action, but unfortunately got taken down before he could actually do any kind of serious damage. So we're just watching to see what's going on. As Core EU, oh, beautiful shot for onto Core EU, and now moving over to Bite Me Ya. And you can see he's trading fire, taking down Nerved, and now they're in a position to move in as the car alarms go off. And now you can see here the American forces moving in. You can see all the squad. You can see one guy up here. You can see working out of the mall. We're moving over to Gay Jr., so you can see Gay there. He's now moving over, and he's trying to defend that point. But let's see if we can move in on him. And now, you know, he's seen that point is being captured. As you're going to try fire, there we go. Takes down Nerve. The nice shot there. And we're just seeing as he's trying to move out on an outflanking maneuver. That's exactly what he's done. Takes down the remaining members of the Chinese team. And it looks like they're in a position to recapture that point. So as that point is being focused on by the Chinese team, you can now see that the Americans have actually moved. Sorry, the American team. You can now see that the Chinese have actually moved over to point B. So we're watching Crazy Baz. He gets taken down very quickly indeed. And now we can find out what's going on as we move over to Artisan John John. So Artisan John John currently under pressure. You can see one of the guys hiding behind the containers on the left side, on the right side, and he's literally trying to do as much damage as he can, get a nice pick, but unfortunately gets picked off himself. So as you can see now, a combination here of, you can watch as the Chinese team are all over C. They're doing their best to try and defend it. And you can see the Americans pushing up pretty hardcore. We move in with Azzy. So now looking at Azzy as he's making his way in towards the point. Now he's in the position to capture it, but no, he's not. As the Americans now have a bleed onto China. And you can see the B point is currently being traded for. So let's move over to B, and we're currently in with Artisan John John. So they're now trying to capture the B point, and now we're looking at China with a bleed onto the US side, as they have 2 points in favour of the American single A point. So now it's whether or not they're going to actually move up and try and take that A point, get the full bleed of tickets onto the enemy team. We'll just have to wait and see what they decide to do. So let's move back to the map shot, and you can see now the C point now in the process. There's Gay Jr. in with the AK, I think that is. Let's just quickly double check. Yes, indeed, it is the AK-12. So let's move back to him, and let's follow him as he makes his way into the shopping mall. Not going to pick up that evil USAS with explosive rounds, because everyone remembers those. And yeah, we love them. How deeply we love the USAS with explosive rounds. Before it was nerfed, obviously. But anyway, let's follow on as we're watching Gay Jr. here, holding on to this point for the American team. So trying to avoid some of those grenades, doing a pretty good job. Let's see if we can find out where the enemy is coming from. So you can see their Chinese team coming in. There's Artisan ADI. Let's see if we can follow in with Artisan ADI. There we go. He's going in, and there we go. Takes down one of the enemy members, and that's Way2High. And Craters. Oh, poor Artisan as we follow in now with Crazy Baz CWP. So now you can see there a little bit of trading fire. He gets taken down very quickly as D-Light gets finished off as well. Out comes the M26 Mass. Oh, nasty, nasty things going on here. And he gets out very close range, and it's not going to do him much good. He gets taken down by the Way2High guys. So let's see, Core 2 EU, or Core EU even, I should say, taken down by Crazy Baz. Fire coming in from behind one of the containers as he's pushing into the B point. So a little bit of reviving action going on there as China now holding on to both of these points. You can see here Azzy with Pazzy, and you can see the Way2High guys now pushing in. Now, over here are the American forces. Now they've got to be careful, because this is an opportunity. As you can see, all of those fags flashing now. Crazy Baz gets taken down. And now we're watching as they're moving into that point. A little bit of trading fire as there we go. That was Bite Me taken down. and we're watching them as they capture that point. So, China for Team Frostbite currently holding on to that point. Out comes the M26 Mass, doesn't do him much good. The B point in the process of being captured, and we can see him trying to defend that from the left-hand flank and the right-hand flank. Not going to do him much good, and now you can see the TF guys respawning and moving on to the next point. So, let's see if we can find out what's going on. The beta ends tomorrow, so this is probably going to be the last competition style games for the beta until the game is actually released. So, as you can see, we were watching Crazy Baz. There we go. We're now watching Artisan Ramsky as multiple members of his team get taken down. And now you can see him as his friends spawn on him. He's taking cover and trying to fire from multiple directions. As you can see him trying to defend himself. So Ramsky doing his best to try and defend from unwarranted evilness coming in from the enemy team. And he's now trying to hold that point as best he can. So you can now see he gets taken down very quickly as he makes his way out of the C point. And now watching Crazy Baz in the picture-in-picture. Out comes the pistol. And now he's getting ready to go. Oh, drilled in the head. Very nasty, as now you can see the C point is in process of being captured. Let's see who that is. That's Azimet Pazzi. So he's following in for the Way2High guys. He's trying to capture that point, and they might have a full bleed. But I don't think it's actually going to happen because of this guy, John, who's actually down at the A bomb site. So we'll just have to, sorry, the A capture flag, I should say. So we'll just have to wait and see as they've actually managed to stop that full bleed. And now you can see the likes of Ramsky holding on to the C point, which means the bleed will now be back in the favour of the Chinese, or of the American, Chinese side, sorry, my apologies there. And now you can see trading a little bit of fire, going through the glass, and it's 159 tickets to 148, as the B point is in the process of being captured. So there's Crazy Baz at the moment, trading fire, there we go, taking him down. Could this be the possibility that they were looking for a total bleed of tickets on the American team from China? This will give them a massive advantage. That's exactly what's happened. And you can see now the tickets dropping like a stone for the US side. And now you can see, look at that, they're dropping so fast, even though that point's actually being captured. You can see this point is actually being captured, but what's happened is that even though it started flashing, the Chinese team immediately moved to try and reinforce their numbers and ensure that that flag is not taken. However, they were not able to be everywhere at once, and as a result, the A point is now being picked up and is being recaptured by the US side. So we're currently watching to see what's going on. As you can see now, there's a difference in around 20 tickets. Previously, it was 3 or 4. This is a deficit, but hopefully the Americans can turn around. They have the ability to do it, as the bleed then returns to China as they capture that A point. However, multiple members from China, the likes of Artisan Nerve and friends, turn up, but he doesn't last very long, unfortunately. So let's find out what's going on as we're watching John. Now John obviously looking for enemies and finding them and getting shot in the face by them. So let's find out, see what we can do as we move over to Artisan ADI. Looks to be guarding the C point. So here we go, the C and the B. That's the direction they're moving. They're moving towards the B, but they're also pushing down on one side, down towards the A bomb site as well, trying to get that full capture. So you can see them moving down one side, moving down the other side. And this is where Artisan, unfortunately, was hoping to make a little bit of a push, but he got shut down very quickly. And now we can see Ramsky moving in as we move over to Ramsky as he moves in towards the A point, trading fire with the enemy team. And now you can see the burn is in favour of the Chinese team again. 126 kills and a nice grenade. 126 tickets, I should say, to 99, and the burn is definitely in the favour of the Chinese team. So that bleed, sorry, not the burn, the bleed is very advantageous as far as China are concerned. All they've got to do is try and hold on to that situation as Artisan taken down right in front of him. As you can now see Baz taking down Azimet Pazzi. Lovely shot there going on, and you can see lots of fire coming in, and we're just waiting to see what happens. So let's see if we can move back to the map so you can see Bite Me and friends. There's E-Light, there's D-Light EU, and obviously Azimet Pazzi taking down members of the Chinese team. They're going to now try and get that burn completely off of China, but no, it looks like China shut them down. Bite Me and D-Light. Let's see, no, the Americans actually on that point, but it looks like now you've got the likes of Crazy Baz moving up towards the B point, trying to close them in on the C, as there we go, takes down Azzy with a nice shot coming in from the AK-5C, and now you can see him trying to defend his point, but taken down very quickly indeed, as now they start to move in towards the B point. So the C point is in their favour. However, you can see the likes of Artisan ADI moving in to try and capture that C point behind the enemy side, and now it gives them an opportunity to move into the B point and maybe give them a little bit of an advantage push in there. However, you do have the likes of Azimit Pazzi now dealing with Artisan ADI, who's hiding out by the television, by the capture point, and now trading fire with John. Out goes the high explosive nade to flush him out of the point, and the bullets helped. So Ramsky currently being brought back up, and now you can see it's 68 tickets to 95, and we're looking at possibility maybe of an entire Chinese burn there. That was very nasty indeed onto the US side. They're down to 63 tickets relating to 95, so China still has the positive burn, or positive bleed as far as they're concerned. And now you can see the American team doing their best to try and defend this point as the Chinese team are pushing in on it, as now they could be focusing their attention onto this point. So you can see the B point there. There's Crazy Baz pushing down. He gets taken down very quickly as well. And now we're waiting to see what's going on. There's Artisan John moving down as well. You've got the likes of Artisan ADI. There's Crazy Baz as well. They want to try and get that B point. It's now the bleed is in there. This is on the Chinese team. You can see those ticket numbers starting to go down. So you want the likes of Crazy Baz to get in there and try and get that B point. There we go, working together with his teammate. That was Artisan ADI, and you can obviously see John quickly pop in. They're now going to capture that B point, and the burn will then be back in favour of the American side. So we shall now move back and find out what the American team is up to. Now, you also notice that Artem Ramsky is in here doing a little bit of forward operations, so to speak. Now, he was hoping to sneak around the A point, try and do some kind of damage, but over by the point you can see here, Artisan ADI now moving in to recapture that C point, get the burn back in favour of the Chinese team, as it's now looking at 73 tickets to 34, 12 minutes 31 seconds ticking over on the clock, as now you can see, look, the B point being captured in favour of the US, and now the A point also possibly being captured in for. And no, it looks like the A point was then going to be captured by China, so it looks like they've managed to stop that total cap out as far as they're concerned. And now you can see, as we watch Artisan ADI and friends move up towards the wreckage, you can see them moving towards the wreckage and trying to push in as much as they can, popping out those nades to try and give a little bit of suppressive, get those guys to keep their heads down. And it looks like he's popped out the mass as well for a little bit of close in action and loving. But no, it looks like the good old AK is going to do its thing, but unfortunately they've been taken down. Now look at that, 52 tickets versus 28 at the moment, and we're looking at the A point being captured by the Americans, the B point currently being fought over by the likes of this man Artisan John, so you can see him doing his best, and also slightly getting burnt by the flaming wreckage which is in that area, but unfortunately he gets taken down, and now it's 48 to 19 in favour of China. Can they hold on to this point? You can see the B point now starting to flash. Fortunately for them, Artisan ADI is holding that point, and now is in the process of trying to defend it as best he can against the pushing members of the Way2High team. So looking pretty good as he's making use of the fire coverage that will actually give him, as long as he doesn't get too close and burn himself. And now you can see 37 tickets related to 15, and now this is looking pretty hardcore. As you can see, Core EU moving in. The tickets are now starting to burn down, as we can now see Bite Me Ya moving in. So there we go for the American side. He's going to then trade fire with Artisan ADI. Can he get him? He takes down Artisan ADI. Now they're going to be in position to get that point back in favour of the US team, but they're down to 2 tickets. I don't think it's actually going to be enough. This might actually be a win for Team Frostbite, and that will take it to 1 round apiece. You can see 1 ticket remaining, so these guys got to be very careful. They do not want to. They've got to rely on core. No, Bite Me is the last man standing, but against 2 of those guns they were not going to be able to stand up against it. So let's see what they decide to do, because they've got 1 ticket remaining, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. 24 tickets victory in favour of China and Team Frostbite, and we move on to the 3rd round. So, how was that, guys? Was that a bit better? Were you more pleased with the general coverage provided there? A bit more exciting, perhaps? As we move on to the 3rd round. Yep, good. Glad to hear it. Glad you guys are enjoying it. Take some crack, then it'll be more exciting. I don't really want to take any crack. Yeah, people do die very quickly. They do tend to... I've got a potato in my throat. Yes, that's true, I do. Where did the dongers start? Oh, God. Who says it was starting? Anyway, let's move in and let's find out what's going on. So, we are currently listening for the music to finish playing, and we are currently hanging out at the C point, which is held by the Chinese team. So obviously now you've got Way2High in as China, and the US team is Team Frostbite. So we shall wait for the sound effects to cut in, and we'll be underway with the match. As you can see, it looks like the C point is being defended quite well by the Chinese team. Bite me, yeah, taken down already. And any minute now, we should have sound effects. So let's find out what's going on. As now we can see, looks like over here, where Azimet Pazzi, over here on one side, and you can see he's actually trying to cover that particular area to aid any attempts by, let's just see, let me just check. So there's Bite Me moving in, capturing that point. So now they're actually moving in, and you can see Artisan ADI trying to move in and do a little bit of an outflanking maneuver. And unfortunately, he got flanked in the face with an AK. That was very nasty indeed. And you can see a little bit of fire being traded. There's Artisan Ramsky moving up on that point. And there we go, trading fire with a couple of members and taking down Bite Me Yeah as well. So a 2-for-1 trade. That's a good deal as far as they're concerned. Artisan ADI moving up, and now you can see the B point being held by the US team, the C point being held by China, the burn already onto the US team. Now it's interesting to see whether or not that actual point there and that point there, whether or not this map is actually slanted in favor of the Chinese as opposed to the US, hence the reason why the US start with fewer, or not so much fewer, but the burn goes onto them pretty quickly. So I don't know whether or not it's speed actually getting there. It'll be interesting to test that out to find out how that works. But in the meantime, we have a match to commentate on. So we're watching Artisan Nerved at the moment. You can see him moving up on the left side, just about to trade a little bit of fire. He takes a lot of blood damage. As you can see, blood splatter all over the screen as he's now trying to cover that left flank. So you can see there's Nerve covering the left flank. Crazy Baz moving up towards the middle, as they're now looking to capture that point. As you can see, let's see, there's Core currently hiding behind an extremely large barricade and popping out to do a little bit of damage. Smart play by Core, very smart play indeed. And you can see him basically staying behind cover until such times as his team was ready to actually spawn on him, and they did a very nice squad bomb indeed. And there we go, a little bit of spotting going on as well, and you can see now they're moving over, popping out a nade into the C area, and obviously taking cover into the containers. So let's see what's going on. As you can see now, it looks like the Americans have the burn onto China. So you can see now, obviously there's Artisan ADI in at the top of the scores, Core EU also in the top of the scores as well. So you can see 246 to 240, and now you can see the C point being captured in favour of China at the same point as the A point then immediately switches to the American side. So now you can see the TF guys actually spreading out. You've got guys covering flanks left and right, going up the road. You've obviously got people pushing through out of the Chinese mall as quickly as they can, and now Artisan ADI has just had a friend. Oh, there's a bit of lifting. There's a bit of tactical elevating going on here, boys and girls. Now, it's going to be interesting to see actually how this turns out for them. Because if they can get that height advantage and look for any people moving in on that point. Now, the trouble is that you can see there, just to the right of where that flag point is, that you can hide behind that cover. And you just can't be seen, but you can actually be on the burn for the flag, so that is advantageous. So you can see a little bit of fire going in as Artisan John Gon gets taken down. So any attempts to take back that Chinese mall have been unsuccessful. The Chinese section over here on one side, you can see this is being defended by the likes of Artisan ADI. So you can now see them trading fire with the Chinese as Bite Me Ya takes down the enemy, and Gay Jr. manages to catch a very nice shot paddle to the butt, and he is able to actually get revived. So you can see a little bit of trade fire. Artisan ADI pulls out the pistol, tries to go clutch, takes down Azzy, but unfortunately they've got a little bit of a res thing going on there. And obviously, for those of you who are not aware of the way that the res mechanics have changed, you only have a limited amount of resing points available to you. Obviously, in this kind of game mode, you don't really have the time to actually fully charge up your shot paddle, so they're going to come back with 20% health. So This is not a good situation. It's not like the days of Battlefield 3 and the res trains. So there's Artisan John making his way in, and you can see that Chinese point now being captured. As you can see, other members of the Chinese team, there's Core being finished off very quickly. We're moving in with Crazy Baz, who's in the process of trying to find a little bit of fires. Core, God, he's going to regret that spawn, as he unfortunately taking a little bit of fire. Out comes the RPGs, the M320 there from Crazy Baz. Now, one thing you don't tend to see is, I mean, you saw a little bit of resin going on there, but you don't see res packs and med packs carried by a lot of these guys because of the speed of the gameplay. There's just not the time to waste. You might as well just move on and try and continue. So you can see nades coming in. Let's move to the map view. Okay. RPGs in BF are OP. Yes, I would agree. Well, lock-on RPGs are OP. So now you can see Americans holding on to 2 of those points. The burn now in favour of the Americans. So now you can see the numbers for China going down. So now it looks like the Way2High guys are going to have to try and turn it around, as Artisan Ramsky is currently defending that point. Pops a high level nade over the top. He's waiting for what looks like D-Light moving in on the right. And Bite Me Yeah, but Bite Me Yeah literally is down so low on health, but he managed to survive. As now you can see a little bit of a flanking moving in by Artisan, but his enemy managed to get away. Can he shoot him in the back with a Maz? It looks, or the Mass I should say, looks like that's exactly what he managed to achieve. And we'll move over to Gay Jr., who's currently trying to defend the mall. This man is trying to defend his shopping. He wants to finish his Christmas shopping, but he's not going to have a chance to, as it looks like the TF guys are going to have a say in that. And Crazy Baz does exactly that. While he's picking out a panda for his baby girl, he shoots him in the back of the face. But, you know, these things happen. It is war. So let's find out as we now move over, and you can see Artisan John, the China team, you can see Way2High moving out there from that particular area, and now we're waiting to see what happens. So if you see, here is the fire being traded back and forth between the two teams at the B sites. You can see members of the US team trying to defend behind the flaming cars and the lorry wreckage. So you can see these guys popping out the nades to try and actually get a hopeful pick onto the Way2High. Nice shots coming in, and now it looks like an outflank there into the Chinese team by the US team over from the left-hand side. But they've also caught themselves into a crossfire, and now they're in a difficult situation. So Ramsky hiding behind cover, as you can see, and now you can see the B point being captured in favour of the Chinese. Look at this, 164 to 161 tickets. This is pretty intense stuff. Shot in the back of the face. Yeah, he should be shot in the back of the head, but technically, if he shoots him in the back of the head, it will actually come through the back of his face and out his eyes. So, you know, I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That train sailed. Anyway, we're looking at Crazy Baz. Let's follow Crazy Baz as he's moving in towards the C point, as a nade comes to rest right next to him, as indeed does D-Light. Hops out through the window, drills him unceremoniously in the brain. And now you can see a little bit of trading fire as Artisan Ramsky tries to take down his enemy. There we go. A little bit of mannequin ownage going on as he's trying to... Oh, look at that. Nice double kill there by Artisan Ramsky. That's going to help. That's going to harm these two guys who were guarding this particular point. And now you can see the A point. He's on the burn. So Ramsky trying to get on that burn, stay out of trouble, stay behind cover as best he can to try and get that point back in favour of the Chinese team. You've obviously got Artisan John, and now guarding the right-hand flank, you can see here Nerve trying to guard that B point as best he can, taking cover behind the containers. You can see opening one of the containers to get through, see if he can find out where the enemy is. Obviously, if they've been spotted, it's going to make things a little bit easier. There we go, get trade fire with D-Light. D-Light then finished off. So let's have a look at the actual scores themselves. You're looking at 24 and 11 for this man, Corey Yu, for the Way2High guys. As you can see, shots coming down the street from the wreckage, as it looks like Core has just decided to back off a little bit, try and maybe regain a little bit of health and wait for the regen to kick in. As there we go, he was waiting for the American team to turn up, but unfortunately got back rage from the rear at the same time. And that was very nasty indeed, as now we're looking at what lots. See if we can find out. As there we go, there's Crazy Baz moving in from the left-hand side, moving down towards the wreckage. And now you can see the flags being returned to the American team. So the American now at 115 to 131, and now we're looking at the B point also then being captured. So this is looking pretty good thus far, and now we're moving over to see what's going on as the C point is in the process of being captured. You can see that C point now. That's A point is being held by China, and the B point is being held by America. There we go, another burn. So this is another thing that the American team will have to actually turn around as quickly as they can. So let's follow Artisan ADI as he moves in towards the first point here, this C point, and you can see then trading fire with D-Light. D-Light takes him down, taking cover behind those mannequins, as everyone knows how well those mannequins absorb bullets, especially if they're wearing some kind of Kevlar reinforced t-shirt. But this is not outside the realms of possibility, so we're following Nerved in as he is in the process of trying to assist in recapturing that point. Now, one thing to bear in mind is when you hear those alarms, that means that somebody with something metal has run between those two barricades. So that's a good way of setting off the alarms. Maybe you could use it as the possibility of lulling someone into a false pretext, maybe. I don't know. False pretense. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So, as you can see, Nerved trying to defend this A point. You can see the burn is unfortunately on the Americans at the moment. This is not looking good for Team Frostbite, as now the Way2High guys have actually got those 2 points. You can see now the C point being recaptured by the TF guys, and now you can see obviously Nerved and Artisan ADI. We're moving with Artisan as he's moving in towards the B point. Has to try and get over that point, as you can see. Looks like that was a little bit of a bug going on there. That looked like he had a bipod on his gun. There we go, there we go. A little bit of mass shot as Artisan ADI takes him down, and now he has to stay on that burn and try and ensure that that burn is then working so that it can actually capture that point back, and they can get the bleed back in favour of the Chinese team. Now look at that, the B point now being captured by the American teams, but it looks like the burn is still back in favour. Gay Jr. gets taken down as he comes through the doorway, and now we're watching Artisan ADI as he tries to move in for a nice little back cap onto that point. Now the trouble is the fact that you've got the China team literally following in behind the Americans. Once they capture a point, they circle in behind them and then capture that point behind them. So this is not looking good as far as the US team are concerned. The TF guys are in trouble. We're looking at 34 tickets remaining, 110 tickets, and the bleed is on the US side at the moment. Now it looks like they're trying to turn that around by getting that B point back. So it looks like that has actually been the case. But now, as a result of that, there's poor D-Light there, in there, having a little bit of fun at the A point. So he's going to try and recapture that, which means that they've now re-established that bleed back onto the US side. So 105 tickets to 25, and we're watching D-Light as he's moving down towards the wreckage, down towards the B capture point, and now you can see him moving in, chucking out the med packs, and now you can see the A point in the process of being captured, and the C point remains with China. Let's just wait and see what happens. There we go, the B point currently held by China. There's Crazy Baz, is unfortunately not looking to his right, taken down by an opportunistic D-Light EU. And now you can see him hiding behind the cover that's available. Nice shot. Took down Artisan John and his teammate, turning up just at the right time. Corey Yu turning up just at the right moment to help out. And there's only one ticket remaining available to the US side. And I think it's going to be all over and a possible win there. 2 maps to 1 in favour of Way2High, which is exactly what it is.